Hi, my name is Bean and I use its pronouns. I like stuffies, cartoons, and making self-inserts for my favorite pieces of media. Nice to meet you. Ew, what is that? You're making so many communities look like jokes right now. The only joke here is you. Now let's get into why that is. Hello everypony! So, how did Bean make you react when you first heard it explain who it is? Was your first reaction annoyance? Maybe even anger? Or maybe you're chill and don't care what people do with the way they present themselves? In any case, I'm here to rant about why these freaks really matter. The simple truth of the matter is, we need people like this more now than ever. In a world where whimsy and joy are being policed more and more by others, I think it's very important for us to keep it alive. I'm going to expose myself a little bit now. I actually use bun pronouns like bun, buns, bun self. People often say they don't understand them, but let me try to explain how I personally see them. So when trans people transition, it's normal for them to change their pronouns to she or he or even they if they're non-binary. For others though, those pronouns just don't fit them the best. Neo-pronoun users are people who simply use pronouns that are outside of the ordinary. To me, since pronouns just take the place of names, like Bean, it's not weird to me at all. Just because something isn't normalized doesn't mean it should be demonized. Pronouns are almost like nicknames in a way to me, as they're just another way to address the same person. So you could just call Bean Bean if you don't really want to use its pronouns, but that would get pretty old pretty quick, don't you think? I think adding a bit of whimsy to your gender is amazing, and should be encouraged more. If Bean feels more joy when I call it, I literally see no problem with that. Do you think the people that died for us to get to this point of being allowed to be trans in the first place would care? Probably not, since they were fighting for liberation for people to unapologetically be themselves, no matter how weird society might find it. Freedom of gender expression should not be limited because that's just feeding into societal pressure. So now that that's out of the way, what about all the other cringe stuff all these weirdos do? Enjoying media made for children? Making self-inserts of themselves inside their favorite shows? Writing cringy fanfiction? Even cosplaying characters in an overly exaggerated way? Oh my god! I say this with the utmost sincerity. Who actually gives a heck? If your interests aren't hurting anyone in any way, why should literally anyone care what you do? I'll expose myself again real quick. I wrote really cringy My Little Pony fanfiction in middle school and high school that actually got pretty popular on Wattpad. And while I think it's a little cringe now, I just remember how much fun I had writing it back then and how happy it made me feel when other people liked it too. I want everyone to feel that way when they make something they care about, and with the internet being so negative all the time, I feel like I'm seeing it less and less often. So, what exactly is the point of this video? Well, it was mostly an excuse for me to rant about something that's been bothering me lately, but it's also a secret second thing. This video is a call to action for everyone watching. Please do the thing you've been wanting to do that you've been too scared to do because you're afraid of being seen as cringy. The world needs more joy and whimsy because without it, what's the point? Everything would be basic and bland if everyone had the same interests and hobbies. So get out there and be the biggest weirdo and freak you can be. In a healthy, safe, and responsible way, obviously. Don't go around hurting others or yourself. When I see people fighting back by just being themselves, it gives me just a little bit more hope for humanity, which is much needed nowadays with everything going on. Super random, but I should also mention that most of the hate directed towards people like this is usually rooted in ableism. When I see cringe compilations of people being just how they are and how they enjoy living life, 90% of the time, they are people that are neurodivergent in some way. Simply put, quote-unquote normal people will pick out anything out of the ordinary and demonize it when they deem fit. As a neurodivergent person myself, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of people that see people like me and immediately decide we're less than simply because we're different. I feel like the lack of whimsy is directly tied to how scared people are of standing out in the quote-unquote wrong way. Which I get being scared, because like I said, there's a lot going on in the world. But the best thing to combat that is just being unabashedly you. Just by being yourself, you're helping the world normalize uniqueness and diversity, and I think that's wonderful. Over-accessorize. Draw those self-inserts with your fictional crushes. Write that cringy fanfiction you think only you'll enjoy. Be loud, be extra, be you. I just felt like I needed to make this video because bullying and the lack of empathy is on the rise again. And I wanted to talk about some stuff I would have wanted to hear when I was 16 years old. I hope this video helped explain to you all why we need people who are weird. This video might get me hate, but I'm kind of expecting it to. It won't bother me though, because like I said, I'm expecting it. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening and watching me rant. Like and subscribe if you wanna. And if you have any other topics you want me to cover, comment down below. I love you all. Bye!